Hi, this is Jordan Ramirez. Today's Minisode is a surreal dreamscape science fiction thriller, Paprika, released in 2006, directed by Satoshi Kon, starring Megumi Hayashibara, Toru Furuya, Koichi Yamadera, and Akio Otsuka. It's an amazing film that I hope you enjoy listening to. So, without further ado, you are listening to a film talk with Jordan Ramirez, Minisode. The film I am recommending for this minisode is the science fiction thriller Paprika, released in 2006, directed by Satoshi Kon, starring Megumi Hayashibara, Toru Furuya, Koichi Yamadera, and Akio Otsuka. There is a new device called the DC Mini that allows psychotherapists such as Dr. Atsuko Chiba, played by Megumi Hayashibara, to enter inside their patients' dreams. However, the device is now stolen. The device was invented by Dr. Tokita, played by Toru Furuya, and headed by the research team led by Dr. Shima, played by Katsunosuke Hori, and Dr. Chiba. Once the company starts to realize that the patients of the psychotherapy program are now infiltrated by a dream terrorist, they start to believe that a colleague of Dr. Tokita, Himuro, played by Daisuke Sakaguchi, is the dream terrorist. But things start to take a turn for the worst when dreams of other patients start to merge and things start to go out of control. It's up to Dr. Chiba and her alter ego Paprika to stop this from going too far. I enjoyed watching this film. The visuals were amazing, as well as the film references that played throughout from beginning to end. Not only was the film going along with the motif and themes of dreams and reality merging, as well as memory and reality merging, but it also was helpful to play around with the different film genres in the dream world. I think of this film as a great pairing with the film I reviewed on my last podcast episode, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Both films feature a female protagonist navigating in a surreal and dreamlike fantasy setting, and both feature amazing creative hallucinatory visuals that are amazing to watch, as well as the references to different film genres and playing around with them. While the main plot of the film focuses on this dream terrorist infiltrating other people's dreams and the psychotherapist having stole the DC Mini, the subplot focuses on Detective Kogawa, played by Akio Otsuka, having a recurring dream about a traumatic memory that started the onset of his anxiety. While both of these plots may seem to be unrelated, they do merge halfway in the film. The performances are also great in this film. Megumi Hayashibara, playing the dual role of Dr. Chiba, and her alter ego Paprika, showcases both the serious and playful side of her vocal range that makes the dynamic so palpable. The other performances that stand out in this film also include Toru Furuya as the irresponsible but comically lovable childlike inventor Dr. Tokita Kosaku, while he is known amongst anime fans as the voice of Mamoru Chiba, also known as Tuxedo Mask in the Sailor Moon franchise, and as the voice of Rei Amuro in the Detective Conan franchise. I thought that his performance was both playful but also serious at the same time. The other performances that are great in this film are Koichi Yamadera as Dr. Osanai Morio, who is a colleague of Dr. Chiba. His performance starts off as being calm and restrained, showing off his seriousness, until a surprise revelation near the end of the film in which he becomes sadistic and completely out of control. Katsunosuke Hori as Dr. Shima is also brilliant in this film. His optimistic and helpful energy brings a sense of warmth and sanity throughout this entire movie. Akio Otsuka as Detective Kanagawa brings a lot of emotional and character depth throughout this performance. There is a sequence in the film when he is inside a virtual bar and he tells this story about when he started shooting an amateur film with his best friend in high school, whom he refers to as his other half, and that the film was never finished. I thought of that sequence as one of the best acting moments in the film from Akio Otsuka. The project originated as a novel published in 1993 by author Yasutaka Tsutsui. After Satoshi Kon finished production on Perfect Blue, Paprika was going to be his next film. However, the company that made Perfect Blue, Rex Entertainment, went bankrupt. It was an idea that originated with Kon in 1998. Satoshi Kon played around with the theme of dreams and reality in his directorial debut Perfect Blue, and later with Memory and Reality and Millennium Actress, that start to cross the boundary line. Satoshi Kon in an interview said, "I was hoping to create something that went beyond my imagination. I thought, what would happen if we did this? I wanted to surprise myself. It wasn't a plan I set up, but it resulted in something very strange and it gave me a lot of confidence in what I could achieve." As you say, the hyper-real method of creating reality is an excessive reality. This is different from live-action filmmaking. It's a different kind of reality that challenges us what to emphasize or not emphasize. Each step will create a world beyond what is truly real, instead of trying to create reality as it is around us. I felt that the surreal world would come out. Satoshi Kon met Yasutaka Tsutsui, the author of the original novel, back in 2003, and he wanted Kon to make his book into a film. Kon thought that Tsutsui was considering that option, and they both had a productive and thoughtful meeting, since Kon was a fan of his work and was glad that he met him. Tsutsui managed to give Satoshi Kon his permission to adapt his novel into a feature film. When I met Tsutsui-san and got his blessing to make it into a film, it was as if something came true that I'd had in my mind for a long time, said Satoshi Kon. Unlike his previous film Perfect Blue, Kon made no changes to the original novel in his adaptation. However, he did make a few changes that would be suitable for the film adaptation. There were two reasons why Kon thought that the lengthy novel would be difficult for a film adaptation. 1. The novel Paprika was too voluminous to fit into a single film. 2. Over 10 years had already passed since the novel was published, and many creators had already embodied the ideas inspired by Paprika in various media, not just in films. Kon decided to make the narrative structure into a simple form and would later incorporate ideas from the source material and the author's other works to make it work. Kon noticed that the only distinctive element from the original novel that made it stand out were its dream sequences. The film would only be complete if the dream world was portrayed in rich detail with expressions that Kon only believed only the visual imagery could provide. In the original novel, the dreams were descriptive and provided with explanations in the text that would be impossible to conceive in a feature film. To create the image for the entire film and still devote enough time to portray the dream sequences without introducing the characters, Kon decided to use voice actors who would fit the characters' image during the pre-production process. The budget for the production was approximately 300 million yen, and the production timeline took about 2.5 years from planning to completion. The film premiered on September 6, 2006 at the 63rd Venice Film Festival. It was later screened at the 44th New York Film Festival on October 7, 2006. It competed at the 19th Tokyo International Film Festival between October 21st through the 29th, 2006, and the 27th Fantasporto in Portugal from February 23rd to March 3rd, 2007. It was distributed in Japan by Sony Pictures Entertainment Japan and ran from November 25th, 2006 until March 2007. It was released in the United States as a limited release on May 24th, 2007. Sony Pictures Classics distributed the film. Originally, it was released in 2 theaters in Los Angeles and New York. It was later expanded to 37 theaters and ballooning to 80 theaters across the country. The film was a commercial and critical hit. It was a favorite amongst Mick LaSalle, critic of the San Francisco Chronicle, calling the film a sophisticated work of the imagination. Manhola Dargis of the New York Times said the film has a sense of unease about the rapidly changing relationship between our physical selves and our machines. The film was included in a number of top lists including Time Magazine, Time Out, Newsweek Japan, and Newsweek. It received numerous accolades, including being nominated for the Golden Lion Award at the 63rd Venice International Film Festival in 2006 and the Best Animated Film Award at the 2007 Online Films Critics Society Awards. It did win, however, the Public's Choice Award at the Montreal Festival of New Cinema in 2006, the Critics' Choice Award at the Fantasporto Film Festival in 2007, as well as the Feature Film Award for Best Animation at the Newport Beach Film Festival in 2007. The film was also said to have been an influence for the 2010 film Inception by Christopher Nolan from critics who noted the similarities from the two films, stating that it is more than a coincidence, but that's another story. It is, in my opinion, one of the best hallucinatory, dreamlike science fiction art house thrillers that I have had the pleasure of watching, from the visuals, story, performances, and direction that made this one of my favorite recommended films for this minisode. On the next episode of Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez, it's the Heathers of the 2020s decade, Dinner in America from 2020, directed by Adam Ray Mayer, starring Kyle Gallner and Emily Skeggs, airing this Friday at 4 p.m. on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Radio Public. This has been a Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez minisode. Tune into the minisodes every Monday at 12 p.m. on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Radio Public. If you want to be a guest on my special interactive video podcast, make sure to send your recommendation on the Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez Facebook page or send your audition video on YouTube or Instagram Shorts. The video podcast will be on Spotify. If you are on Spotify, make sure to like and subscribe to keep this show going, and make sure to recommend your friends and family members to tune into this podcast. I also have my own YouTube channel, Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez, where you can watch my latest video podcast, and make sure to like and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you at the movies.